The Hunger Games stars Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, Liam Hemsworth, Woody Harrelson, Elizabeth Banks, and is directed by Gary Ross, and is based on the young adult novel by Susan Collins of the same name. This movie shows an apocalyptic America, now known as Pan Am, where there are, instead of states, now 12 districts. The government of Pan Am put into law that because of a civil war that broke out, each year, each district has to offer up one boy and one girl between the ages of 12 and 18 to go off and fight to the death in a gladiator-style arena battle. Our main character, Katniss Everdeen, played by Jennifer Lawrence, volunteers as the tribute for District 12 when her younger sister Prim is picked at the reaping for their district. Her and the boy, Peeta Mellark, played by Josh Hutcherson, now have to go off and fight in the Hunger Games. Now, of course, this is one of those young adult novels that was brought into film, but it's definitely one of the more popular ones, up there with Harry Potter and the Twilight franchise. And I remember when this movie came out, people were comparing this a lot to Twilight, and I was like, oh god, I don't want to see it then. Why would I watch that? But then I was hearing other good stuff from critics and stuff, so I was like, okay, you know what, I will go give it a chance. Now, I bring this up specifically because there are people out there that still have a stigma against these movies because they think it's just another Twilight knockoff, because of all the stuff that was being said. Well then, let me just tell you, this ain't no freaking Twilight. To be honest, I haven't actually read the books that these movies are based on, although I have been meaning to check them out. But I have seen all these movies, and I really enjoy this series. Suzanne Collins, when she wrote the book, was really trying to go after the stupid reality TV shows. You know, the ones where you vote someone off the island or whatever, like Survivor or Dancing with the Stars, all those dumb shows. And I gotta agree with her. I don't like those shows either. So I do enjoy the commentary and mockery of those kind of shows by making a whole show in the realm of this movie where kids literally go off to kill each other. And yes, this movie does borrow a little from Battle Royale. I don't think it's blatant ripoff like I've heard some people say, but yes, it's clearly taken off of that idea. But hey, Battle Royale wasn't even original. You had stuff like Lord of the Flies showing kids killing kids. The Most Dangerous Game, which is quite similar to Battle Royale and the Hunger Games kind of idea. And The Running Man by Stephen King. I don't really get into that saying it's a blatant ripoff of Battle Royale, because it's not. And yes, I have seen Battle Royale, and I actually like the movie. It is very brutal, so if you can't stomach that kind of stuff, I would stay away. But if you can, check out Battle Royale. That is a good exploitation movie. Getting back to this movie though, one of the best points of this movie is Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss Everdeen. She's a fantastic actress. I mean, heck, she won the Best Actress Award the same year for Silver Linings Playbook, another great movie that, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. She really sells me as a character who has to live in these conditions where she's just become hardened and just goes after whatever she wants. Right at the beginning, you get her reasons. She's protecting her sister. So throughout this whole movie, everything she does is to get back to her sister and protect her. And that is so well done in this movie. And when she gets there, even though she's scared, she tries to hide it so well. And you have those scenes where she lets it out a little bit that she's scared. She's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. I just signed my own death warrant. And later on in the movie, when she's training for the Hunger Games and in the Hunger Games themselves, we get some scenes where she's scared, but we also get a lot of scenes where she's on top of things and she's willing to go all out. She's a badass character. You have the moments where you see her scared, yes, and that is important for character development, absolutely. But then you have a lot of scenes where she shows that she's also a badass. She will fight to the death if she has to. She doesn't necessarily want to, but she does have to. She knows that she needs to do this to survive and get back to her sister. Also, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when they have each tribute show off a talent to the people that are running the Hunger Games. And she goes up to the target, they're watching, and she shoots and she misses. And then they go back like, they're like, oh, whatever, they ignore her. She shoots again and hits right in the head of the target. But by this time, everyone's ignoring her. And then she turns, and they're all up on a platform, and there's a bunch of food there, and they're eating and whatever, and just hanging out. And there's a roasted pig with an apple in his mouth. And they're all up there just talking, but the next thing they know, this apple is shot out of the pig's mouth with an arrow, and they all turn and just see Katniss there with the bow, like, thank you for your consideration. She just has this badass look on her face when she does it too. As far as the other actors go, Josh Hutcherson does a pretty decent job as Peeta Mellark. I didn't really find him that horrible. I know some people have had a problem with his acting in this movie, but I think he's fine. He's done better in other things, but I know that as the movies progress, he does actually get better. The two actors that I want to say are perfectly cast are Woody Harrelson and Elizabeth Banks. They are both hilarious. Woody Harrelson plays the guy who's supposed to be giving Katniss and Peeta advice on winning the Hunger Games, and some of his dialogue is just really good. The way he bounces off Katniss and Peeta, he's hilarious. I mean, it's Woody Harrelson. He's just a hilarious actor. Have you seen Zombieland? He's awesome in that, and he's pretty good here. So, yeah. And then you have Elizabeth Banks as Effie, who in this movie, you could see if this was written badly, would be too much. But it's written just perfectly, where she's just kind of oblivious. You know, she doesn't really get it. She sees this all as a show. And so she'll have these lines, like when they're talking about how there's a very likelihood you guys will die, you know, like really somber stuff. And she'll just say something out of the blue, not to like change the subject or anything, but like she doesn't get it. She'll be like, oh, this is a really good dessert we're eating, or something really silly and innocuous. And you just kind of go, what the hell? That's just funny. That's good. Elizabeth Banks is a great actress as well. There's some great acting in this movie. You have Donald Sutherland as President Snow, and of course Casey Affleck as the Games Maker. And all around, the acting is good. Now here's one of the much weaker parts of the movie, and that is the cinematography. And specifically what I'm talking about is the stupid shaky cam. Now in this movie's instance, I get it. You want this movie to be PG-13, but you have to show a movie where kids are killing each other. So you're trying to make it as least violent as possible. I get it. Doesn't stop it from being annoying though. There are some action sequences in this movie where it's just hard to tell what exactly is going on because of all the shaky cam, especially when they first get into the Hunger Games. I think that's the worst offender of it in this movie. And there it's just so bad. The action besides those parts is good though. The fight scenes are fine. There's a lot of great moments where Katniss kicks some ass. I like the scene where she's in a tree and there's a bunch of people below trying to get her, and she knocks down a nest of tracker jackers to get them, which are basically genetically modified wasps that can kill in one hit. That was a pretty cool moment. One of the other problems with this movie though is the writing. I mean, beyond Peeta and Katniss and another character from District 11 named Rue, we don't really know any of the other tributes at all, so we don't care when any of them die, honestly. And that's a mistake, I think, for the writing. I don't know if the book's any better. Maybe the book does get more into the other characters. I have no idea. But that was a huge disappointment. Other than those things, though, the movie's fine. The acting carries the movie really well, and the directing is pretty good, too. So I'm going to give this movie 3.5 out of 5 stars. The series gets much better from here, but it's a decent start off to the series. So if you like this video, check out my other reviews of the other Hunger Games movies, and like, comment, subscribe. See ya.